What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie. Deep diving a little bit more into Frank Zappa's Halloween 78 box set. Today I'm going to rank the guitar solos. Just the guitar solos from all 5 discs, the 27th early show, the 31st big one show. Little bit of an issue with this release in that some of these guitar solos, it's sort of a battle, a duel between L. Shankar and Frank Zappa kind of going at it, trading licks. And so instead of sort of isolating each, like some of them, it's like Frank will go for like a minute and then Shankar will go for like a minute. And then Frank comes back for like 30 seconds and Shankar like 30. And then Frank will get like a 4. I mean, the timings and there's no real structure to these. It just seems like Frank's calling the shots. Like, hey, you go. That was good. Go longer. But I'm just going to include, so like all of Packard Goose, even though we get a Frank solo, then they go at it. And all of it is just going to be focusing on Frank's contributions, even though other people are soloing at the same time, if that makes sense. 16 solos. There are licks in the little house I used to live in, but I'm not counting that. It seems more like fuel to like move that on than it is an actual solo. So yeah, 16 solos. I'm just going to talk about them from 16 to 1. I'll put the list up on the screen when I'm done. That rhymes just for fun. And then I will put the list on of all, how many albums? All 79. This is the 79th one, I believe I've done. And I will show where this ranks among all of those when I get to the end of this. Number 16, the opening solo from the 27th show. Frank comes out, plays for like 40 seconds. I think at some point he walks on the stage or the curtains open. You can hear everybody clap, takes a break. The band vamps, plays for about 30 seconds more. Then we get the intros. Not much to this, really half-hearted. Nothing really there. 15 and 14 are both the Muffin Men solos, encores of each respective show. I have the one on the 31st being ranked a little bit higher than the one. I have them ranked the same numerical number, actually. They're about the same. They're Muffin Men at the end of a show. They're both bringing the Muffin Man energy. They're both just good, high octane, Frank Zappa, rock and roll, Muffin Man solos. Yeah. 13 and 12, I have the 2 easy meets from the respective show. I actually have the easy meet from the 27th ranked higher than the easy meet from the 31st. The one from the 31st seems a little bit of a restrained easy meet solo, like maybe Frank's holding back a little bit. The one on the 27th, it's your typically ferocious, almost 2 minutes, about a minute 45 of just Frank attacking, ferocious, with one of the 3 death vamps that just dominates this tour. Easy Meet Death Vamp, City of Tiny Lights Death Vamp, Bamboozled by Love Death Vamp. Frank is enjoying this one. But the easy meets at 12 and 13, with the one at the 27th being better than the one at the 31st, I think. Then we get the 2 City of Tiny Lights at 11 and 10. So one of the City of Tiny Lights makes the top 10. Same thing. I have the City of Tiny Lights from the 27th show ranked just a little bit higher than the one from the 31st. The one from the 31st, it is this weird, slow kind of segue out of Denny Wally solo, where he takes Denny's solo and does something kind of weird. He's got some really weird noises in there, plays with like his VCF, voltage controlled filter, which made Ship Ahoy what Ship Ahoy is. It isn't, the one on Halloween is just an awesomely weird sounding solo. It's just too short. It just leaves me wanting more. And then the one on the 27th, the City of Tiny Lights, that is just the tone of his is nasty. The attack is nasty. This is like, there are times when it feels like the Baloo energy from Fall 77 and Winter 78, and the way he would, make noises with his guitar and play in a pretty non-traditional soloing style. Seems like Frank is taking that kind of let's make more noise with our guitar that just doesn't sound like a guitar aspect of Baloo and incorporating it into his City of Tiny Lights solo. But the one on the 27th, they're both pretty weird, high energy attacks. But the one on the 27th is more just this ferocious blur of a solo, where the one from Halloween is weirder, And usually I like weirder better, but it's too short. It just feels like, got to give us something a little more, Frank. But that would be 11 and 10. So then we're into the top 10 here. City of Tiny Lights from the 27th being 10. At 9, we have Conehead from the 31st. Frank enters into his solo pretty low, pretty slow, got some nice burst of energy. He's pretty restrained for a while, but he's kind of all over the place. He gets kind of off kilter funky in a while. The groove gets a little bit weird and a little bit funky. It really is just him kind of being weird for 2.5 minutes, but it's a pretty good weird for 2.5 minutes, but it starts slow and just kind of like every time he levels up, he just kind of levels up in weirdness and levels up in just like randomness. And then at the end, when he kind of wraps up the solo, we get that little Conehead reprise of the theme. And then he starts playing the riff into Suicide Chump, and having that be a part of this extended guitar energy is just fantastic. And kind of, even though it is Suicide Chump and that's the next song, playing that riff at the end of it, I don't know, kind of helps put sort of a nice little exclamation point on the Conehead solo. Speaking of Suicide Chump, at 8, we have Suicide Chump. Frank starts riffing on that, like, that little thing that Denny yells, that little vocal line. He's riffing on that melody for a while before he starts taking off on his run. And this is a 4-minute, super bluesy, kind of aggressive, but relatively patient. Like, Frank's not going for a volcano experience here. He's just going to sustain some aggression for a good 4 minutes. It's kind of focused. And it really just seems like Frank found a groove. He's happy to play in this groove. He's comfortable within more of a bluesy framework. At the end, Denny comes in and starts screaming in the end as Frank finishes up his solo. A nice solo. And the combination of Conehead and Suicide Chump together, I think Conehead builds the energy in the solo that I think Suicide Chump takes and just channels it into like a more direct, focused, just like almost like a no frills type solo. Just like, let's get things done. Let's just shred Zappa style. So that would be number 8, Suicide Chump. Drop it down to number 7, which is something that normally does not happen with this song. This is 2 songs actually, because it's indexed as 1 track. We have Black Napkins into Deathless Horsey. Dropping down to 7 because I think the excitement of seeing Black Napkins into Deathless Horsey is pretty cool. Fact of the matter is, Black Napkins kind of has no momentum, is pretty chaotic, pretty fragmented. It really does sound like Frank is searching for ideas. And he has like these 2 pretty distinct pockets of solos in which he kind of plays around, kind of lets things fall apart and get random and a little chaotic and kind of builds again. But at no point does he latch on to that. Like, does he catch that one wave that's going to bring him in and, you know, elicit really high scores from the judges? And so what he does is he abandons Black Napkins and he starts playing the Deathless Horsey. Kind of messes around with that opening theme, isn't really there. Song goes on for a little while, messes around with the theme some more. It is there. And it really is, the Deathless Horsey part is really just establishing Deathless Horsey, playing that opening theme, messing around a little bit. There's not really a lot of Frank soloing going on in all the madness that is this pretty unique set ending, tour ending, big one show ending experience. But I don't think Frank necessarily delivers. But just hearing Black Napkins go into Deathless Horsey is pretty cool. That's number 7. Number 6 is Stinkfoot from the this is from the Halloween show. Not even as an opener. Just dropped right there in the middle of the show. Stinkfoot delivers as Stinkfoot tends to always deliver. 3.5 minutes of a playful, kind of noisy, right in the groove. Frank knows what to do with a Stinkfoot solo. He's done it before. It's been a while since he's played a good Stinkfoot. He's just, the energy is good. The vibe is good. Really, really strong solo. Really strong Stinkfoot solo. Fantastic. That's number 6. Number 5, we have the opening song, Ancient Armaments, which is like, I think this is Frank's evolution into sort of his serious guitar style. Like, I think of like Zoodalures from the 80s. I think of like Truck Driver Divorce. To me, always has a serious tone about it. There are some 82 solos in particular, where he goes into this kind of, I don't know, it just seems like we're sitting down and having a serious conversation. Like, I'm not going to shred, I'm not going for this volcanic peak. I got ideas I'm going to present over the course of 3 or 4 minutes. Do you want to hear them? Got a lot to say. They're pretty complex. Don't get distracted. And I feel that's what this solo is. And the opening rhythm is kind of off kilter and funky and not really something you groove to. And at times there was a Xenocrates feel where it seems like Frank could have just taken a random drum bass track and laid this other random solo over it, because it seems at times we're just, the drums are here and Frank's here, and then every once in a while we cross and then we're not crossing again. And it's got that vibe. It reminds me of, like, if you're going, I'm a philosophy major, if you went to like a philosophy convention or even a regular teacher's convention, this is like sort of like the opening convocation or the opening like keynote speaker in the beginning that's kind of setting the serious tone for the night. Only this is Halloween, so it's weird. It's a weird choice of songs for this a weird choice of solos, the energy, the presentation, the attack for a Halloween show. It doesn't sound like a Halloween show. It sounds like an opening solo for like a presidential inauguration. There's a serious tone to it. And I like it. I think it works. It's fantastic. It's a great solo. But that would be my number 5. My number 4 is the Pound for a Brown, labeled 13, part of Pound for a Brown, but the 13 solo from Halloween. Frank opens up with this, as he does for Pound for a Brown, as he did on the 27 show. Kind of everybody flees out. Everybody escapes the area, get off the field. Frank's going to start. Let him establish the vibe. When you feel you have something to say, come in and join us. So we start off really sparse, kind of all over the place, fragmented, searching for ideas. But then he picks up a really nice head of steam pretty quickly, like he knows what he's going to do. Towards the end of his solo, Frank's going for a while, he starts dropping some like really nice hard rock riffs in there before Shankar returns, and they get kind of battle it out for a while. It's like a 4.5 minute Shankar Frank Zappa battle. There's bursts of absolute chaos in there. Frank's solo in and of itself, if I were to rank it separately, it would probably rank below the ancient armaments. It would be ranked below ancient armaments. But when you add in the dual factor and you add in the Shankar and the call and response, I got to bump this up a little bit just because that energy is really good. At one point when things start to fall apart and get entropic, Frank drops a little Louie-esque riff in there to kind of motivate things, or, to mock the crowd as he's wont to do. Kind of gets really playful towards the end. So really good, a really solid solo that is made better by the fact that Shankar comes in and is like, hey, let's duel, buddy. So that's my number 4. My number 3 from Halloween is the Packard Goose. It's just really, really good. Frank's solo starts off with about 1.5 minutes of him just kind of exploring ideas, looking for something to do. Bunch of riffs, bunch of licks, bunch of little motifs. It's over the dun-dun, 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 the awesome Packard Goose riff. But then Shankar comes in, and we essentially get like a 9-minute battle. We just get them going at it for 9 minutes. They're like the opening part, that opening 1.5 minutes, almost sounds like Frank's like, okay, I'm going to stretch this arm. I'm going to stretch this arm, stretching my back. And like every little stretch is like a different sort of 25 second guitar idea. And then once he's stretched out, he calls Shankar in, and then we just go at it for 9 minutes. There's a main solo in the middle of this battle that's Frank for several minutes, and that really is just like the meat of this. It's like if this was a burger, you got a really tasty bun, a lot of condiments. You got that meat Frank Zappa solo patty in the middle. Then you got some more stuff on the bottom and another delicious bun. But Frank's solo, super tasty, super composed, kind of melodic, gets kind of proggy in the end and kind of weird and almost a King Crimson-y type woo-doo-doo-doo kind of way. Really fun solo, but it is one of those where I think you have so much noise around the meat of Frank's solo because you have the battling part with Shankar, you have the pre-setup, the battling part at the end, but it is that middle part. There's a part where Frank just steps forward for a while, and like that's the part to pay attention to. That's the heart of this solo. That's number 3. Number 2, I wrote number. Why did I write number for number 2? What the frick is number? I don't know what that is. Oh, it's pound. I wrote a pound sign. Never mind. Number 2 is Pound for a Brown from the 27th show. Absolutely fantastic. This is an amazing solo. This is like, how long is this? It's like 3.5 minutes. This solo needs to be taken out, released in a separate box set with like a guitar, a Transfusion 78 type thing with a bunch of just solos. This solo is fantastic. Frank brings it down. He rebuilds it. He kind of quickly takes off, and then he stays off, just kind of exploring. Things get kind of off kilter, and kind of funky for a while. The bass playing by whoever's playing bass. I think O'Hearn led most of the jams, but I think it's both of them at some point. Gets manic and crazy. This is like pure psychotic Frank Zappa all over the map. There's no Shankar to compete against. This is the first run of the Halloween show. The bar is being set really high in this Pound for a Brown. The first show of the 27th is kind of weak. Like, there's no opening solo. The Easy Meat and City of Tiny Lights are pretty good. They're better than Halloween, but it's still Easy Meat and City of Tiny Lights. The Muffin Man, and there's really not much else solo-wise. The Pound for a Brown almost makes it worth it. Like, almost makes it mandatory listening, because I think that's just absolutely a fantastic solo. I really thought it was going to be number 1, because I think even though there isn't this epic head-to-head with anybody, I think the quality of the solo is that strong. But we got one more. The one in number 1. The best solo on this box set. It's Watermelon and Easter Hay. It's slow, but purposeful. It's kind of light and emotional and airy, but forceful. It's everything you want a Watermelon and Easter Hay solo to sound like. Shankar's there. Shankar's sound enhances this song. It's an amazing 3.5 minute solo by Frank. Towards the end of it, I think we get about 1.5 minutes of Frank and Shankar going back and forth. It is restrained. Frank has always respected Watermelon enough to not like unleash just this noisy, crazy, devastating, loud, Black Page number 2, go crazy type solo or anything like that. It's just, he plays it restrained. He plays it. You can hear the emotion in it. You can hear it's a tasteful quality to a Watermelon and Easter Hay solo. And it's like his actual solo, which is like 3.5 minutes. You get like, a couple minute and a half of more back to back. That initial 3.5 minutes, it's like the shortest 3.5 minutes ever. It comes, it goes, it satisfies, but at the same time, it leaves you wanting more. I think it's the perfection. It's perfection in the middle of a crazy Halloween night. Where would I rank these? If I had I did, but what would they look like? I mean, if it was on paper, that's what they would look like if they're on paper, right there. Really, I mean, you have a show from the 27th at number 2, so I think that's saying something. But yeah, everything else is mostly from Halloween, right? And then we get those Easy Meats, those City of Tiny Lights, Muffin Man. Those were good, but better than the Halloween. But the really good stuff comes from Halloween. And if I had to rank this one amongst all the others that I've already done, which is like 79 at this point, it's in the top third. It's there at 25. There's no bad solos other than that opening solo, which kind of even almost doesn't seem like it counts as a solo. But there's just more. There's 24 other releases that I think solo per solo, if you go head to head, those releases are stronger. But this is a top. I think 78 overall is a really strong tour for Frank. I don't think this set best captures what was great about Frank. I think Chicago might do a better job of capturing Frank's really, really great solos in there. So, yeah. All right. That's it. I'm rambling at this point. That's what it looks like. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know your thoughts on the solos, what your favorite is, things I might messed up on. I don't think I forgot any. I think I got them all, right? All right. I'm done. Peace. Talk to you later.